lost control, made me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should have told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it? And did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? It's too late now, 'cause I'm growing old, but I need you to deal with my sorrow. Just a memory, just a broken frame, and I know that I have no one else to blame. Did you make it? Did you break free? Did you manage to be who you wanna be? Maybe somewhere you think about me too. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it? And did you feel the same? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Should have told you that you're beautiful. I wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Wonder where are you now? Would you know my name? Would you know it? And did you feel the same?
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I've tried to sort the sound levels out for this week. We'll see whether that's any better when I listen to this later. But for now, it is 5 o'clock. It is Saturday, the 12th of January. A good third of the way through January, which I would not normally pay attention to, but it is dry January, so we are counting the days. So, what am I getting on with today? Going to share some last progress of the coffee carrier. That's been a long-running project. Good evening, Paul. And I'm going to continue work on the trigger lock and probably the gate. That's my lineup for me. So that is what I will be looking at. First of all, let's have a look at where we've gotten to. Nothing on the printer today, so let's turn that camera off. A bit of an adventure today. Went to our local museum, saw this beautiful piece of machinery. This is a 200-year-old printing press. It basically this slides in and out underneath this ginormous press and gets pressed. There's kind of a diagram. It's a pretty cool piece of machinery. It still operates. It's been in my town for essentially 200 years. It used to be used to print the local newspaper, and they continue to do like short print runs of bits and bobs on it. That was pretty cool. That was an interesting thing to go and see, and just lots of stuff in history there. Other than that, a few videos there. I will just do that live with the new with the thing anyway. So the coffee carrier. The coffee carrier has been long part of this stream as I've been gone through. I think I looked earlier. I think this was the very first design. the idea I liked but didn't have enough clearance. This was a nice all one-piece print, but I've gone through a few different ideas, but this is the one that we've settled upon. So it comes apart fairly nicely into two pieces. That blue is obviously nice and close to the the green screen, so we're getting a nice bit of see-throughness there. But one thing I realized after the first video of the two I put on Instagram is that I spent so much time faffing with this part of the design. In fact, let me look at the design here. These little hooks, spent a while, such time faffing with these, trying different designs. You know what I realized? You know what I realized in the end actually works? Well, not that one. Actually works really well is literally just putting them in here sideways. So you can just pop them in like that, boom. It holds off at an angle slightly, but they're handling quite nicely, fits in a bag, perfect. When you want it, pop it out and just stick them in. And those little notches make sure that I can't pop the handle out when I'm grabbing it. So there you go. That is done. So the first thing I'm going to do is keep selecting the one. There we are. The first thing I'm going to do is just get rid of that element from this design, and then I'll probably publish it to Thingiverse. Maybe not on the stream, but I will just publish it. But just have to accept that that was an unnecessary idea. And I mean, I did think about making like a recess along here so the handle would sit flush against the body when it's there. But even that I don't think is necessary. Simplicity is king. So what do I have to get rid of to get rid of all of that? Let me see if I can. Oh, it's compute. Why? What is it computing? All I did was select a thing. What I want to do is, there we are. You. What are you? Oh, that was combined. So somewhere over here, I split the body. That was part of me getting all of this stuff done. Right. Yes. Here we go. So we can just delete some of these features. I think if I delete you, that will make it all square off. Yep. And if I delete you, so what I did discover is like it sort of worked, but it also sort of really didn't work because the layer thickness. I mean, maybe if I printed it at a lower layer height, it would have been better. Yeah, you're in a mirror. Why are you there? But the I probably got the bodies all switched off, do I? But the layers just snapped, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that get rid of that. So it just wasn't very strong, and you still had the handle hanging out all over the place. Just as much as I wanted it to work, or as much as that was like part of the original idea. It took me too long to let go of it. No, not that. Let me come back further. So I did the legs first. And that was leg sketching. Bum bum bum. I really want to be able to select like a face like that. Does that tell me was that in this sketch? Ah, there we are. Maybe. Yeah, what if I delete that sketch? Getting punitive now. I'm just going to delete big chunks of this. Come on, go away. And clean it up, this timeline. It would probably be faster just to get rid of, to just like redevelop this from scratch, maybe. But I did end up putting, oh, that was the other thing I did earlier, is I put in a couple of chamfers on the underside of, let me turn off the extra bodies that I'm not supposed to have here. Maybe that one. I'm at the wrong point in the history for this, aren't I? We'll come back to that in a minute. But basically, I put in some chamfers on those sides so that it would go in a little easier, which it does, which is good. Yeah, I want combine somewhere. I must have just like the original extrudes and sketches and whatnot that led to that whole notch. And it would be nice if it was easier to get to. Delete you. Deletion cause warnings. Yes, I know. That's fine. As long as I've still got my legs and my handle, I should probably make sure that I don't accidentally delete that stuff. So that is, it's not the most exciting part of Fusion, is it? Maybe I'll do this offline, because even I thought this was just going to be a much easier to identify what bits I wanted to get rid of, and it isn't. Okay. Anyway, we know what the objective is. We'll just flatten that. I could probably just flatten it at the end and keep the history full of all this garbage, but yes, but not for now. I'll worry about that later. So what's the other thing that I worked on, which is actually a bit more interesting, which is this thing here. Let's go from pacing. So this is at least a test print of the trigger lock for the new bandsaw. So I've made a vertical stand for it, but whilst it's in the vertical stand, it needs the lock to be held on at the moment. Well, last time I tested it, I'd used zip ties. Made this quick model, printed it in its most simple form without bothering to manage the hinge or anything. This fits this way perfectly. It's lovely. Get it to that touching point. It's holding it locked on exactly what I want to. If it's this way, terribly, because apparently I can't measure things properly. I think I must have written it down wrong. Because when I put it on, I'm like, wow, this is like miles off. It's like 5 mil off. And yeah, I think I just wrote down the wrong measurement in my phone, and that transpired into a wrong measurement. So the first thing we're going to do is fix the width, and then we're going to put a hinge and some kind of pin lock capability on it. That will then give me that option, which I like. So what did I call it? Bandsaw or something? Belt sander, BB-8, Batman, bathroom, bandsaw stand. That's there we go. Bandsaw trigger. So that, there we are. So I sliced it at that position to print it. That worked beautifully. So all I think I want to do is create sort of a barrel pin hinge type arrangement. And yes, so the question is really how to put the offs, well, where exactly I want the hinging to come from and how big do I want the hinge. It can be relatively chunky. I think from previous things I mentioned last time, I've used bamboo skewers as the central pin in a hinge. So if I make that 6 total, that might be a bit small. Let's just come out by 4. So then it will be an 8 mil diameter pin. So let's do that. And obviously it will need to flush to the body in both sides. And then we can have a 3 mil central hole. that should give us enough meat to print and support. So I'm gonna take an angle down to like there. That'll do. We might end up. Do I want to curve that in? Does it matter? I'll leave it like that. So let's just extrude that down all the way for the moment. So obviously what I need to do is cut the middle section out of that and populate it from the other side. Oh, helps if you're actually showing your screen, Mr. Wold. Thank you, Paul. This is, so that's going to be the hinge. What I will need is to cut that out, and I kind of want to think about printing without support, but I think I'm not going to get away with that. I don't know that there's a good way to print a hinge without support, because all the usual tricks about putting the surfaces at 45 degrees and such don't make for very good hinges. Yeah, I can't think of a good way to do that at the moment. So for now, I'm just gonna take the halfway mark and 7 mil. 7 mil is probably fine. 2 mil each way. Let's do that. So we're just going to use this to cut out a central section. Oh no, how did that end up being? Try again. Lock it off there, thank you. And 7, there we are, much better. So now what I want to do is extrude these panels all the way through there and just cut that out. Boom, there we are. That looks beginning of hinge shaped already. And then on the other side we'll do something similar, but we'll have probably a larger center diameter, because I want to use, haven't decided exactly what I'm going to use as the lock pin, but I think it would be nice to have that be a bit more chunky than the hinge itself. So what if I, for the moment, move this body back so that we're in kind of the closed position, so we can kind of see what we're doing here. So we're going to need a little bit of clearance, not very much, but a little bit. And yeah, so when this part prints, there's going to have to be support material that runs between these two pieces in order to pick up this. I think if I tried to chamfer it off to give the print head a chance to print in open air, all I would do is make this hinge rubbish. Okay. So let's turn that original sketch back on. Not that one. That one. Let's extrude you. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's edit that sketch. Oh, of course I can't edit that sketch in that point in the timeline, because what if I move that? I'll make that move there. That's better. Now I can edit that sketch with reference to that piece as well. So I'm going to draw another line that comes off of here. I'm gonna give it a little bit of chunk, because I do think that will probably help. And of course, that is not going to let me extrude that because the sketch planes are connected to different things. That's kind of annoying. What if I just follow that like that? Has that not created a set of connections? Did that not? Yeah, that's... Sometimes... Yeah, there we are. That was the join that was missing. Excellent, right. So we should now be able to extrude a new object off of this side. That circle and that circle. We'll take it down all the way to there. We'll create it as a new body for the moment, and then we'll get it to the right size, join it to the front, and presto, we should have our hinge. That is my theory. So let's you and you. Oh, that's doing an extrude again. Let's just turn off you for a second. Well, come back down to there. Where were we? To there-ish, a bit more, 8 and a bit, 8.2 probably. Give us a little bit of clearance. Turn that body. Oh no, turn that body off for a second, just so I'm definitely not cutting that. And then let's combine you and you. Marvelous. And there we go. So that, I think, will rotate nicely without blocking into anything. And we'll have a 3-pin through. So the only annoyance is that there's going to be a bunch of support material that's going to have to go in, that's going to have to be ripped out, which is all a bit ugly, but that will probably suffice for that side. And now I want something similar on this side, but with a pin lock. I was sort of thinking about using a chunk of just steel bar that I have laying around as the actual pin. I'm just wondering if there's any considerations on that that are worth thinking about. Or if it's essentially exactly the same as this, but slightly bigger. I mean, I guess I don't need it to be a full width, full length of the thing. I could maybe make it a smaller chunk on this side, but I don't know if that makes any difference. Probably don't want it to be a full length for pure friction point of view. Like, it doesn't need it for the strength. It might be a pain to pull out if it's the full whatnot. Let's assume that we're working with some kind of 6mm pin. 6mm pin, is that on like a pull cord or something? Oh, you know what I haven't done, which I need to do right now, and hope that it doesn't completely screw everything, is adjust the overall width to what it should be. So I had, wait, that says 32. And I have it at 32.73, but that's not right. Wait a minute. Let's just look at what we did here. Something went awry. So the actual printed Hujimawit is 37 wide. Let me just check. So U to U is 37, right? That's not right. How did I wind up? Oh, because I think so there's a bottom piece and a top piece. That was it, wasn't it? There are two sketches. And one of them, they're both inside the other. That one is 37 to the, yeah, so this is it. This should be 30, right? Yeah, okay. Edit sketches. So I've, for some reason, constrained that one to 32, but somehow ended up with this as 37. I got that all sorts of wrong. Let's have a look at this. I think I must have just guessed at that offset. If I make this 32.7, not 37.7. Yeah, okay. So that makes that needs to be 20. I think I've just decided to make it 5 mil less, right? So if I make that 27, that puts me inside, but with all the other proportions still as expected, which has caused a wonderful weird shape there because I've only changed the bottom half of what was the loft. So let's edit the other one. 32.7 is what you were supposed to be. Thank you. Oh, what is that? 32.7. Okay. Oh, did I? Let's have a look at what we just, let's see what that puts us at. Okay, that looks like the right shape, but hopefully just the right amount narrower. 32.7. Marvelous. Okay, that was not as alarmingly messing up as it can be. So that puts me in good stead. Let's draw. We'll do the same thing we did on the other side. We'll use that as our reference point. I want to make the pin that goes in here 6 mil diameter, and let's say, so let's assume we come 6 mil away from the body. That gives us a 3 mil. So if I make that 6 for a second, so that's the pin size I want, and then the barrel is that much bigger. We'll do the same idea of support back to this body and back to this body, maybe about there. We'll do our same game of recreating that angle. Come on. There we are. So that will let me extrude as well. But this time I think I will make these not full height. So don't fill it. Let's try actually extruding. Thank you very much. Get you out of the way. So I reckon, like, if these are 5 mil a piece, so one on the top, one on the bottom, a 5mm, maybe a 10mm middle section. That should be plenty of holding power, I think. Oh, except I didn't want that to be a combine. What did I just do, and where did it appear in my timeline? Did I just manage to extrude that in a weird place? Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize that it had moved me back to creating a sketch before I just did all those other things. Okay, well, anyway, we'll create it as a new body for the moment. We will move it down. Let's say to there. Let's create another one. If I do create the other one as a pattern, that might make life easier in a minute. Direction that way. I only want 2 of them, and I want the gap, right? I want not extent but spacing. Yes, and the spacing should be 15 because the body itself is 5. So I think that puts a 10mm gap between them, if my calculations are correct. So that should be good. Let's combine those. You and you and you can all join. And then, oh, that's interesting. I ended up with a bit of a weird notch. I assume that was from an extrude that didn't quite happen. I didn't realize I'd done that. We'll fix that in a sec. Let's extrude the other half also as a new body. We know we want 10mm minus, let's say, 0.4. So let's make it 9.6. That gives us clearance on either side, just so it fits without too much of a problem. We'll create you as a new body as well, so we can move you into position. And move you to there, move minus 10.2. Like that. So in theory, it's pretty much as simple as that, he says, jinxing it horribly. A bamboo skewer on one side to be a permanent hinge, and some kind of pin, bolt, whatever I find that's 6mm in the other side to latch it. What I might do is just chamfer some of these. So let's turn that off for a second. Let's just, say chamfer, fillet the top and bottom of this by like a couple of mil, just to give us a bit of, oh, are you not gonna, oh, let's try that again. I was thinking that we might make it fit in together a bit nicer, but possibly I was being a bit aggressive with how big that was going to be. No, it's not going to calculate that at all, is it? So I can have a 0.2 before it gets itself all confused about that geometry. Well, fine. That being said, then, is there really anything else to do with this other than check it on the slicer, see what the print time is going to be like? So let's move you free again, because whilst, I suppose I could print in place. Is that a good idea? If I print in place, then I don't need support material on this side at all. I could probably do something, but I don't think it would be as clean. That's my thinking. I think if I print them separately, I do have to deal with support material, but I don't have to deal with the whole thing being jammed up. Okay, yeah. Let's save that first, and now let's export that lot as an STL and have a look in Slicer. And how are we doing? We are half an hour. That's not too bad. Have a quick look in Slicer, and then we'll go play with the gate design for a bit. And that will be that. I have to think about what is for dinner. Bandsaw stand, bandsaw trigger lock. Let's replace the U. And right, delete that. Open this. Bandsaw stand, bandsaw trigger lock. Open that and go look at it. Right. So that's the orientation. That seems fine. So I've been printing everything at 0.3 mil height and 10% infill density, and it's fine. It works great. So what I do want is support everywhere. Let's see what that does in Slicer. So yeah, I guess unsurprising, we end up with a bunch of support material all over this. Let's have a quick look at what the support material settings are like, because I feel like sometimes it could be less of a problem. Pan spacing 2 mil, interference layers 2 layers. Seeing the object and support material. Fault support, I think it was 3. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, that'll do, I suppose. I know that that's going to require some cleanup, which is not ideal, but it will probably be fine for the purpose that it's being put to. So let's just save that out and see how long it thinks that's going to take. It's probably going to be, I'm going to guess, an hour. An hour 22. Well, okay. I will set that going in a little bit. Oh, the only other thing I should probably do, I tell you what, just for the sake of double checking that I've not done anything stupid, let's create a component from you and a component from you, and we'll actually create the hinge and watch it operate, just because it's possible that let's do a joint component you and you. No, I want an offset. Offset Z by, no, let's do minus something like -5, is it? No. -8 point, probably 2. There we are. Oh, except that wasn't also not the right joint type, was it? You're a Revolut. Marvelous. So let's just quickly double check that we don't crash into anything as we open this up. So that comes apart nicely. This rotates through. I mean, this might be a little bit tight, I suppose, because you've essentially got that internal corner is rubbing on the outside of that pin. But it will open, in theory, all the way around to there before it crashes, which is more than enough. So we really are only talking about whether or not I'm worried about the clearance between the outside diameter of this pin and that internal corner. Am I worried about that clearance? A little bit, maybe. A little bit, maybe. Let's turn you off for a second. Let's just chamfer you in. There we are. Let's turn that body back on. That gives us, let's see, there we are, a bit more of a gap through there that we can see, so we won't bind up on that. Okay, I'll worry about re-slicing and everything later. For now, let's move on to my gate design. Where are you, my gate design? Apparently I didn't call you gate design. Did I call you side gate? I make my life so hard by not having a good memory. Gotta go. See you, Paul. Catch you later. Have a good rest of your weekend. Here we are. Side gate. That's what I call it. This is this. So I'm gonna try and actually do the offsets on some of these, which wasn't working last time. And then I kind of want to tweak this whole text section a bit because I was thinking about what this is going to be, and I don't know how I'm going to get those curves at that proportion. So maybe I need to rethink that because it's not going to look like that. Why can I not offset those things? That's what I want to know from eFusion. Didn't work last week, it's not working this week. We'll just have to try something else. I'm just going to draw the damn things. Yes, this sketch. I don't know why you swung me around in a weird way, but let's imagine that you are. Did I decide on 2mm offsets or 3mm offsets? I think 3mm offsets. So, in fact, yeah, let's just do it this way. We'll draw you out at 90 degrees, 3mm. Thank you. And we'll do the same over here. This is essentially the way I would do this manually in a... No, come on, I want to come away from this at 90 degrees. You should be able to tell me when I'm doing that at 90 degrees. Come on. What is this? Oh, see, now that is what is telling me what's wrong, isn't it? It's because all of those are, or that one is connected to the wrong POXin part of the frame. That's why. So they should have been connected, I guess, to the top because that's where that side is parallel to, but they are connected to some weird offset part of what we're doing. I assume. Although, is that really... I thought that that would be the top surface, but maybe it isn't. It looks okay to me. Are they not? That's a flat line. Why is it not giving me a 90-degree off it? The simple things that would be. Yeah, you don't want to lock on anything. If I do that, does that work? It looks about right, but I mean, I guess unlike a lot of designs, it's not like this one I'm actually gonna like give to a machine to do. I'm really doing it just to visualize it, but it frustrates me nonetheless that it doesn't want to do exactly what I want it to do. Yeah, and that's fuck's sake. Sorry for language. That is gonna drive me a little bit crazy as to why, because you end up in this whole mess that nothing wants to connect at all. Right, let's just, so this is the sketch we're in. Let's just delete. I just want to delete things. Go away, go away, go away. Just forget all of this. Let's see if we can't recreate these without the garbage problems that it's having. Because that is just gonna annoy me. Because I need them to fill in. I tell you what we can do. What if we try and create 3-point rectangles? We'll do one there and one which is like 3 mil, like that. And then we'll take it out as long as it needs to go over to there. And then it's filled in. How about that? Okay, that is the way to go. And that means that I always get a radial line that is exactly off of the sun of the circle. That makes sense. So we'll do that again. With a 3-point rectangle, we'll eyeball it to about there. Come down with 3 mil. No. Come on. I want to be around you to the tune of 3. And then out to there. Better. And let's repeat that option again. Okay. No, come on. You were supposed to agree. Yes, accept 3 mil. You come all the way down to there. Right. And one last one. Repeat the 3-point. Eyeball to about there. I think this exercise also is making me realize, no, what was that? Come on. Why? Oh, was that to repeat a 3-point rectangle? Don't understand what is going on. They worked fine until now. Okay. Oh. I've lost my sense of where everything is. Right. I love the space mouse, but sometimes it's like my brain freaks out and does not follow what is going on. Right, that looks like 3 rays. Fine. Let's move stop sketch. And action. And go. And bring me to here. Right. So that, I'm just going to edit that extrude now. And we'll select some more profiles. You. And you. And you. And you. And boom. So that is like the basic structure, such as it is, that now needs some kind of filler. Some kind of filler. The question is, how wide open can you make an open gate before it becomes not really a very gatey thing? Like, I don't really want to fill it completely in. But obviously, if there's a latch on this side, you want there to be enough that you couldn't just reach through the gate and open the latch, if the objective is to stop people from going from one direction. So I think I can fill this with a big 3B. Big 3B. And yeah, let's edit this sketch again. And let's text, put you here. We'll say 3B. And we'll make you like would make you 400 high. So is that going to be just a bizarre thing to try and do? It would need to connect somehow. Dan's hum of unsurety. That's the problem with doing these things. It's just not knowing exactly how much I really want to. Obviously, they couldn't float like that. They wouldn't be as big as that. Yeah. I am decidedly unconvinced. Even if I had verticals that connected it off somehow. Okay. Let's think a little bit about what might fill in the sun rays. One option that to just try quickly would be, what if you basically had further concentric outputs of this, so it's sort of like the radiating lines of the sun, as it were, and you just come out and out. Or does that start to look like a spider web? That's the problem. I'm not really picking exact sizes for this stuff, but so let's just assume that this is the way it goes, and just to see what it looks like. I would would I want a better linear pattern? Can you do a pattern of circles? Circle pattern, linear pattern, rectangular pattern. That's not. I kind of want essentially a. What would it be? Be a pattern on a path is what it would be. Except it's not even that. Okay, well. For a moment, I'm going to try and offset each of these by 3. And then we'll extrude the ones that we want. And we'll see what that looks like. Repeat offset. 3 again. I don't really understand why that hasn't shown up. And okay. Yeah, it was just taking its sweet time. That's why it hadn't shown up. Repeat offset. And one more. And then that will probably be enough to give me an idea of whether I hate this design or not. Okay, stop sketch. Edit this, extrude. Can we have the sketches back, please? That's not the extrude I want to edit. Edit that. No, that's interesting. Why is that? This is the amazing ordering in which things happen. Right, yes. Come on. Come on. It does not like me doing these things at pace. Come on. Catch up, Fusion. Because what I want to do is just select these. Okay, you know what? Instead of editing that one, I'll just create a new one. How about that? That'll keep you happy. Let's have the sketches back on. We'll do an extrude, and we'll do it on you, and you, and you, and you. Boom. I just need to be a bit closer. I don't know that I'd even be able to make these this regular. That is another problem. Even if I wanted it to look like that. Ooh. And there we go. So that is... Honestly, why is my brain not working in 3-dimensional space today? Just pushing everything in the wrong directions. And we'll have it minus 15. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So do that. Turn the sketches back off so we can kind of see what we're looking at. That doesn't actually look that bad. I thought that might not look like what I wanted, but that is actually not too bad. And just imagine that further out. The question to a certain extent is how big are these gaps, because it looks all right. It's sort of an abstract concept, but they are minimum distance 116, 10 centimeters. So it's probably a little bit wide for a gate of meaning. I need to mull on that some more, I think. I still need to figure out what this whole negative space would be full of. I mean, I could put some kind of mesh behind it, but I don't know. I kind of don't want to put a mesh on it. Kind of like the idea of it being like a standalone thing without having to put some kind of broad, like I could just put like a wooden backing to it maybe, but do I even want to do that? Maybe I should go and look at pictures of gates and get more of a inspiration. So the text is probably not going to look like that. This I'm not sure of. I'm deeply, deeply conflicted about this whole design, obviously. Okay, well, that's it for now. That is all for me. This has been CAD Like Nobody's Watching. Paul was watching. I think he was the only one. Thank you, Paul. That's it for me. I hope if anyone does watch this, I hope you make good progress on your projects, and I will be back at other times doing more making stuff. Catch you next time.